Hello and welcome to GOA365's Face to Face. Now this past week, so as to say, has been all about the budget. There have been the professionals, the experts talking, then there have been politicians talking from the side of the government and the opposition. So after a little bit of all this has settled, the dust has settled a little bit, now we are trying to bring in the saner voices, the experts, to actually explain to the audience, to the people who are actually going to be affected by the budget, what it's all about. With me, I have my good friend. He's the honorary treasurer of the GCCI, as well as the chairman of the taxation committee of the GCCI, Rohan Bhandare. Rohan, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So, Rohan, before we get into the meat of the thing, this actual thing, I would like you to give us a small brief on exactly how did this budget come about, what was the circumstances, situation, what is the general business situation, why was this particular budget done in this particular way? Rohan.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So if you see the run-up to this budget, there have been a lot of factors. One of the major factors were, the kind of global challenges we are seeing, the global supply chains, which had got disrupted at an international level. Second, we are also seeing that, there's been a change in the government in the US. The Trump Sarkar has come now.
The tariff Sarkar.
Tariff Sarkar, absolutely. And, even on the first day of taking over, we say, we have got an agenda for 100 days, first 50 days. On the first day itself, in a landmark kind of a matter, there was a global taxation deal which was happening between all the countries. On the first day itself, the US government said that we would not be part of this global taxation deal. So this is again to protect their industry. So, even globally, all the countries are looking to protect their own industries. From the Indian point of view, there were expectations. The expectations are from the industry which are asking for reforms. And the main growing expectation was from the middle class, where they felt that there has to be some kind of a concessions, some kind of a rebates which should be given from a tax point of view. Okay, because these are the taxpayers which have been filing their returns, very diligently over the years. And also, looking at the economy, the past 2 quarters had seen a slight stability or a small decline in the actual growth. Even though the GST collections have been quite robust, the economic survey also, which comes usually one day before the union budget is presented, that also had shown that there was some requirement for a boost for the growth. So I think considering all this, our finance minister has really put up a very, very nice budget, a very well balanced budget, which has not only helped to accelerate the growth, but has also given a lot of incentives for the private sector to invest, as well as given a kind of an enhancement in the incomes for the middle sector, so that this can then in future drive the consumption.
Absolutely, because the one thing that we have been noticing in the past, I think almost a year, 6 months to a year, that businesses are making money. The top businesses are making money. May not be that much, but they are not investing. But banks are flush with funds. Yeah. But it's that rotation, that movement is not happening. Correct. But one thing I have to say that this IT thing, what we are talking about, we'll discuss it it was highly needed, because salaried class have got now you are a professional, right? You have some opportunity, businessmen have more opportunity, but salaried people have absolutely not, and the salary comes directly in their account, and at the end of the year you say, okay, so much is gone into the thing. So that is something that needed to be done, which has been done. Hopefully once you give us the sort of the nitty-gritties, we'll know exactly what. Also the middle class, because the middle class has been very, very strongly behind this government. It's high time I don't want an answer for you, but I'm just saying very, very strongly behind this government, good, bad, whatever, they've always been. Yeah. So the middle class needed something from the government.
Correct,
I think. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, now tell me one thing, what is the logic of certain things that the finance minister has gone into? Like I know you've given a general, but in the run-up, say they have gone for health, wellness, and then cargo, and then MSME support, all these things. What do you think is the logic? Why?
Yeah.
Manufacturing also needs a boost because manufacturing has dropped, even though we need the Prime Minister has gone in for that,
Correct.
Atmanirbhar plus Viksit Bharat and all that. So it needs. So I wanted to know what is the logic behind all this.
Yeah. So I think the logic has been very, very clearly spelled out by the government. What the government is saying as far as the middle class is that we hear you. And especially so, along with the point that you have just mentioned, it's also the cost of inflation. Today,
Yeah,
the
I
household
forgot
cost,
to mention.
the household cost today
crazy.
is rising.
Yes.
During the COVID period, also the middle class had to go through quite a deal. And now they were expecting that some kind of a benefit is passed on to them, okay, because because the household costs are rising. Also, what's happening? See, earlier you had two regimes of old regime and new regime. The new regime was presented that there would be no deductions in that, but it would be having much more favorable rates. But the past few new regime rates which were there in the earlier years did not have that many takers. So it was from the government side also that they wanted to make this new regime much more attractive, and that's the reason that now we are seeing that there's been a total revamp in the kind of rates. As far as the industry is concerned, as far as even the MSME is concerned, I think the government again has a very clear statement to them that it's time to go global. We are here to help you. We are here to see that you get the enough. You get the credit facilities that you need, the infrastructure that you need. We are even ready to have in certain sectors even have a public-private partnership. But we need to focus on domestic manufacturing. India has to become the global hub for manufacturing, because the entire theme also has been make in India but make for the world. They are even having certain sectoral kind of allocations where they would like manufacturing to be boosted, as well as to see that the export is being taken, and not only for the larger sectors. There are specific schemes which have been brought in for the MSME so that they can step up and start doing the exports. So this has been a kind of a very clear message from the government.
See, some of the things that I've seen I'm no expert, but some of the things that I've seen is they want to go in for agro-based or agriculture, all these type of things they want to concentrate on, right?
Correct.
Because hardcore manufacturing, it's I think probably a little tough. I don't know. What do you see?
Yeah. So what they have done is actually they have frankly given little bit for each sector, but on an overall basis, first they have seen that they have tried to raise the bar. What they have done, number one of the most important things, especially for MSMEs, which we feel are the kind of growth drivers which are accounting for more than 40% of our exports, they have changed the limits, or rather the definitions of what is a micro, what is a medium, and what is a small entity.
Okay.
Whatever existing definitions were there for investment and turnover, so there are two conditions. They have the new definition is now 2.5 times the earlier limit.
I see.
And the turnover is now now gone twice the earlier limit.
So compliance has become easier?
Compliance has become easier. Your credit facilities, to avail credit facilities is now becoming much more easier for you to have, for you to receive payments for your services from the government or from larger entities becomes easier, because there is an MSMED Act also which is already there.
Okay.
So there's a huge benefit for the MSMEs which have been given. Again, the credit cover. So usually
I was going to ask you that only. Yeah.
The entire the pain point for the MSMEs today is that they are not able to get the credit facilities, because most of the times bank would ask for a collateral, and sometimes the MSMEs would not have that much of a collateral. This is where the government is coming into the picture, and they are saying that we will give you a credit guarantee cover up to a certain limit. These limits again have been doubled for the MSME. They have also put up a lot of stress for the startups, and even for the well-run MSMEs also, not only for the new MSMEs, for the well-run MSMEs, there is again a kind of an enhanced cover. So this is the way they have been supporting the MSME sector now.
Yeah, because one thing that we have been seeing in the past, the previous year and even before that, it's not the banks have funds, right? But they concentrate more on consumer loans, on these smaller loans, which are probably, I don't know, for them easier to collect, I think, because they send recovery agents who like harassed all these people on the phones and all. But for businesses and all, they are very, very careful. But if that is going to happen, especially then it becomes a problem so hopefully with this, you feel it will make things easier?
Yeah, because see, from the bank's point of view, we have to also remember that this is depositors' money. So the bank would rather not take a risk, or rather would not do a business, because their primary aim is to protect the depositor cover. But moment the central government comes into the picture, saying that we would be ready to take a part of this cover, then it becomes much more easier for the banks. The banks are much more easier. It will become easier for them to lend, and for the MSMEs also, they are able to get those kind of timely funds to use into their business. And this again, because moment there is finance in the market,
Yes.
it brings out its own cycle, and that's how your economy starts driving.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, absolutely. Banks are very risk averse. So we have a saying among when you have money, the banks will call you up. When you don't have money, they run away from you. So that is something that hopefully, because of this risk aversion, the government has, I think, that they has given them guarantee. Don't worry, even if the money we are there, something like that. You feel. So that will help them. Help the managers and all breathe easier. Okay, now we'll go in for a small break, and when we come to the other side, when we come back, I want to concentrate on the IT Act and like a few of the numbers which you can give about MSMEs and how they can go and basically how to organize the finance and what tax has to go out, what tax has to come in. Also the IT, I think that under the new regime that the capital gains, that issue also, just few details.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to come back in a short while. Keep watching. Welcome back. Rohan Bab, now we have discussed the macro or the overall holistic sort of a view. Now I want to get into the details. Like the finance minister has been talking about the IT. Now it's being touted. I leave the politics aside, but even the experts are saying no, it's got potential, it's got this, it's got that. But there is an old regime and new regime. So why do we need to shift to the new regime? What is the why?
Yeah. So, as you rightly said, there are two regimes. There was an old regime,
Yes.
which had a lot of deductions, lot of exemptions.
Yes, and which are still there.
Yes. And but the government felt that even to make things very easy for the taxpayer, you have to simplify things. So because the more complexity you have, more exemptions, more investments. Again, there will be more compliances. Sometimes it may also lead to more litigation. So what
100% it will lead to litigation. You should know this.
Absolutely. So the government said that we will come out with new rates. The new rates are going to be much more beneficial, and they'll be at a lower side. And if you see, the government has not really stopped the old scheme.
No.
What they have done is they have tried to make the new scheme much more attractive. There were certain deductions like the standard deduction, which was not there earlier. The standard deduction is now at a much enhanced rate than even the old scheme.
How much is the standard deduction?
Right now it is 75,000 rupees in the new scheme.
Okay.
So they have tried to to give certain smaller level of deductions in the new scheme as well, but they have made the new scheme very, very attractive. And now if you look at it, especially now with the new slab rates which are coming, there will be a very small portion of people who will be actually in the old scheme. So they have not stopped the old scheme. They are saying it's up to you, but they have made the new scheme as the default scheme. So whenever you go to file the returns, the new scheme will be the one which will first be attracted to, which will be applicable to you. Only if you would like to go in for the old scheme, you can go in for it. But even if you look at it from a mathematical point of view, with the new rates which have come in, you would need to have substantial deductions, because since the old scheme was more about deductions, you need to have substantial deductions in your income for you to even come somewhere close to the new scheme. That's how attractive the new scheme has happened. So just to give you an overall view, there have been no change in rates as far as the old scheme was concerned, but for the new scheme,
health and all, everything is same.
Everything is same. In fact, the surcharge, the cess, all have remained the same. For corporate taxes also have remained the same. Now for new regime, for the resident individuals, there has been a total revamp of the tax rates. So if you see the tax rates now, it is 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24, and then your 30% slab starts. Your rates would be 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and 30, which would mean that technically there is no tax to be paid at the first level of 4 lakhs up till 4 lakhs. Now What they have also done is that they have brought in the rebate. There was already a rebate earlier for 7 lakhs. Now this rebate, which was for an income of 7 lakhs, which was effectively giving you a tax of 25,000, has been now increased to 12 lakh rupees, which is in effect a rebate of 60,000 rupees, which is a huge amount of money.
If you take 60 plus 75, it makes a lot of sense.
I'm sorry?
75 is the standard deduction.
Absolutely. So if you have a look at, let's say your income was 12,75,000 and you have a 75,000 rupees of a standard deduction for the salary, you would get the exemption from 12 lakhs. And 12 lakhs is a huge sum of money. It's almost 1 lakh rupees per month. And you look at it, not only from a salaried person, even from an MSME. If you're a professional, and let's say you are having a total income of, let's say, 20 to 24 lakh rupees, and your net income is, let's say, 40 to 50%, you're still within that 12 lakhs. Even for a trader, usually they say, let's say you have a net margin of just 10%, and let's say you are having a crore of rupees of turnover, and you are, let's say, under the presumptive scheme, you are not maintaining certain books. In that case, again, you're below. So it's a huge sum of money. If you
look at it that way, it makes a lot of sense.
Huge. It's a huge sum of money. And in fact, in Goa, again, we are also governed by the Portuguese.
I was going to ask you about that. Yes.
So we are other than salary, the other incomes are apportioned between the two spouses, which gives you, as in effect, a much higher kind of an enhanced benefit for the rebate.
But if your spouse doesn't work,
no. So but then collectively
24 lakhs.
You have 24 lakhs to this thing, right?
So suppose if your scheme, like one person's income is, say, 14 lakhs,
correct,
and the other
one is 6 lakhs,
6 to 7 lakhs, so you can club them together.
Yeah. So the practice in Goa is that both the incomes are clubbed. Okay. Even in this case, if you had seen 14 lakhs, you would have not got the rebate.
Exactly.
You would have to go into this thing. So again, because of the 5A, again it becomes a big benefit for the taxpayers of Goa. Again, two small conditions which were there. One of the main ones is that capital gains, or rather to put it in a different way, incomes which are taxed at a flat rate will not be included into this rebate.
I see. Okay. So capital gains won't come into this?
Capital, so in the sense, any long-term capital gain that you're having, or short-term capital gain under a specific section, because there are certain
12.5%, right?
You have 12.5% for the long-term capital gains. Short-term for the shares is at 20%. So if they're at flat rates, what the government is saying, what the government's point of view is rather, is that what they have explained in their explanatory memorandum, and what the budget speech also was saying, is that if this is the income where you will not get the benefit of the rebate, you would have to pay that
at that rate. But it will not be added to your income.
It will not be added. It will not be so to put it across, it will not be added when calculating that rebate. So as an example,
that's what I'm asking.
As an example, let's say you are having 12 lakhs of business income, and let's say 2 lakhs of an income which is at a flat rate. Then in that case, this 2 lakh would be paid separately at your at that flat rate, and the 12 lakhs you will be able to get a rebate.
Okay, so that means no. My point is that it will not be added to that 12. It then becomes 14. No. That's my point. Because otherwise, what happens if you add it to 14? Then your slabs go higher.
Correct.
Then you're stuck at 30%.
Correct.
But okay, now under the new regime, what it is, it does not change.
Yeah, so this is under the new regime itself.
Sorry, old regime I was talking about.
No, so for the old regime, you are still having the older kind of rates, okay, which are at a much higher level. So now we are seeing that many people are now transitioning to the new rate. Even one more matter relating to this rebate. Many people have a kind of an impression that the rebate is up till 12 lakh rupees.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yes.
And let's say I'm 12 lakh 10,000 rupees.
No, 13 lakhs.
Yeah, no, just let's say 10,000 rupees also extra. The feeling among the public was that now you don't get the rebate. Because now you're at 12 lakh 10,000, you will not get the rebate. You have to pay 60,000 plus. But it's not so. There is a concept called marginal relief, in which the government is giving you a kind of a relief that because you are marginally above a rebate, you will have to pay only certain tax which is over and above the 12 lakhs. Okay, until you reach that kind of a break even, which is around 12 lakh 70 or so. So, which would mean that even if you are having something, a little income which is above the rebate, okay, you do not have to pay with the entire tax slab. Your tax will be calculated as per the slab rate, but you will get a marginal relief for that entire money. Okay, and only the income which is above 12 lakh rupees, you would only have to pay tax on that this thing.
Okay, this is one part. Now, if your income is say 14 lakhs, 15 lakhs, then what happens?
So 15 lakhs, so if you are having 15 lakhs, then maybe you will not get the rebate.
At all?
You will not get the rebate, but you are getting the benefit of the reduced tax slabs. Because the tax slabs itself, because when you will be calculating your tax, 0 to 4 you are not paying anything. From 4 to 8 you are just paying 5%. 8 to 12 you are just paying 10%. So if you compare it with the previous, even with the previous new tax rates, you are going to have a kind of a benefit of 30,000 plus.
Okay.
So that's how it is. And as you go higher, then you will also get a benefit of that surcharge and the cesses also.
Okay.
So this is, so no doubt the new tax rates are not only giving you a benefit for the people who are below the 12 lakh rupees, but even the people who are going above the 12 lakhs, they are also going to be getting a kind of a benefit because of the relaxation of the slab rates.
Okay, now looking at this, see the average salaries of I think about 60-70% of the population of India are below around 30-40,000, 50,000. For those people who have had to pay tax, I think it would be a huge thing. For the people, higher earners, it may be a bit of a problem, but still, don't you?
Yeah, so this is a benefit not only for the salaried people, it's also for their employers, because employers have to deduct the TDS. That again becomes a separate compliance for
them. That is a compliance.
Which is to become quite a compliance if you are having that many employees. You have to at the start, if you remember when there was an old scheme, you have to ask them what were your investments. Then they used to say, I will give you my PPF, I will give you my LIC at the end of the year. In February again you used to get a reminder. So a lot of compliances also are now going to reduce because of this matter, which is I think a great step.
Okay, now anything while filing returns or whatever, what would you suggest now under the new tax law that you expect to suggest, so that as in especially in Goa, what we would need to do to ensure that compliances are there? Oh, now, okay, one thing, wait, a little more direct. So today we have your central medical scheme, we have the local medical scheme, DDSY and all that. So now what is going to happen? Why do we pay like 30-40,000 for family, for health insurance? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So no. So
I know it's a little loaded question, but I'm saying
see, what is happening is I think the government had to make a choice. See, if you remember, even when ATC was there, initially the entire thing was moment you are in the first week of April, you put in 1,50,000 in the PPF, which because the deductions were not only for income tax. It was also to protect yourself with a kind of social security. ATC, if you see the list of ATC itself, you are having PPF, you are having LIC. So the entire reason for those was also to stimulate your investment. But now the government is also saying, having a view that there is a kind of a financial literacy also which is there, and let's give a person a freedom to choose the investment models that he wants.
Otherwise you're stuck.
Yeah, otherwise just because that's something is giving me an ATC reduction, I have to put the money, and then after a few years I see, I'm not getting a return, or that investment is not something that I was really looking out for my lifestyle. So the government is clear. They are saying, okay, you have a plethora of investments. Let's keep the tax separate. Let's keep that simple. Let's not complicate that with these items. And we have separate financial literacy and kind of investment awareness to show you what are the risks and what are the benefits of other investment models, and then you're free to invest in those.
Also now the range also you can invest, and you can do into so many things. You can invest in business, you can invest real estate, XYZ, and you don't have to be a builder to do that. There are so many different vehicles which you can invest in. Earlier it was first thing, like when you're born, your father would put some money into LIC. Is that could possibly be one of the reasons also?
Yeah.
Not only the literacy, the choice also, no?
Absolutely. There's a wide choice, and the choice can also be seen by one of the budget proposals in income tax. For cryptocurrency also, this year they have asked for there will be a separate statement which will give a lot more details about the cryptocurrency. So the government also is aware that that
you can't stop it.
That people are going into different kind of virtual digital assets. Okay, and but since they are going into different incomes, it's better that we report it in a correct manner.
Yeah, and then because of all this digital fraud and all, it's much better to get compliances. Yeah, thanks, Rohan. I think it gave us a little bit of an idea what we should do, we can do, we have to do. We have to do is one thing, what we can and should also is another thing. Yeah, so we'll take a short break and we come back later. I want to get into more because now I think we've covered a very small part of the budget. Lots of more things are there which can be Goa centric, maybe also which can be related to different sectors and all. So keep watching. We'll be back for the second episode.